On the precipice by the sea, the kidnapper aimed his gun at Shin Tangdang and me, a sinister grin spreading across his face as he inquired of Gu Ziyuan, who stood across from us. President Gu, whom do you choose, your fiancé or your first love? Beside me, Shin Tangdang, clad in a flowing white dress, looked up with tear-filled eyes, her delicate face resembling a rain-soaked pear blossom, evoking a sense of compassion. Yet, I remained as pale as ash, my eyes reflecting an overwhelming numbness. It was not disappointment or sorrow that gripped me. Rather, at this moment, I was frantically flipping through the pages of the narrative. A minute ago, I found myself transformed into the protagonist of a tragic tale, condemned to endure relentless torment both physically and emotionally, only to be recognized by the male leads posthumously. The individual seated across from me, Gu Ziyuan, is one of these two male leads and the fiancé who inadvertently caused the original character to plunge into the sea, resulting in her amnesia and subsequent encounter with the second male lead. At this moment, Gu Ziyuan gazes at me with a cold, disdainful expression, pointing decisively to my side as he proclaims, "I choose Tangdang. Lin Wei's fate is of no concern to me." Familiar with the narrative, I maintain my silence, while Shin Tangdang beside me is visibly moved, tears brimming in her eyes. In a moment of provocation, she even steps on my foot as she rushes towards Gu Ziyuan. Observing the unwelcome mark on my pristine white shoes, I am incensed, my frustration with the subpar plot boiling over. I swiftly summon the editing system to pull up the original text. Shin Tangdang ran into Gu Ziyuan's embrace. With a wave of my hand, I change ran to tumbled. Suddenly, Shin Tangdang, who is joyfully bounding towards Gu Ziyuan, slips and rolls uncontrollably like a spinning top, accelerating towards him. In that instant, I witnessed the shock ripple through Gu Ziyuan's pupils. Moments later, there is a resounding thud as Shin Tangdang successfully lands in Gu Ziyuan's arms, albeit in a most ungraceful sprawl. Gu Ziyuan, dazed from the impact, channels his fury towards me after ensuring Shin Tangdang is all right. Lin Wei, if anything happens to Tangdang, I will not spare you. My previously amused demeanor vanishes in an instant. The assailant, no longer entertained, points a gun at Gu Ziyuan. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Am I invisible? 2. Facing the threat posed by the assailant, Gu Ziyuan promptly signals for a cadre of bodyguards, igniting a fierce gunfight. I scurry about, ducking for cover like a whack-a-mole. Gu Ziyuan cradles Shin Tangdang in his arms, whispering soothing words, his expression tender and affectionate, reminiscent of a leading man from a romantic drama. Close your eyes, don't be afraid. Bah, scoundrel, I retort, darting to and fro while pulling up the original text. The assailant, with a menacing expression, aims at Shin Tangdang. "Mr. Gu, then I shall let you taste the agony of losing your most beloved," and with that, he fires a shot, but it only strikes Gu Ziyuan's subordinate. I replace subordinate with groin. Just as I finish the alteration, the outnumbered assailant once more takes me hostage. "Mr. Gu, do you truly care nothing for your fiancé?" Unyielding in the face of danger, Gu Ziyuan fires a shot close to my ear. "Do you believe me now?" The deafening sound leaves me enraged. "Gu Ziyuan, you will regret this." A fleeting flicker of emotion crosses Gu Ziyuan's face, only to be quickly replaced by disdain as he regards me. "Regret? The only one I love is Tangdang." His words serve as a reminder to the assailant. "Mr. Gu, then I shall let you experience the despair of losing your most cherished." With that, the assailant turns his weapon towards Shin Tangdang. Her face pales in terror as she covers her face, emitting a high-pitched wail. Gu Ziyuan, in a fit of rage, bellows, "Stop!" Then, the assailant feigns a shot, redirecting his aim towards Gu Ziyuan's groin. The sound of the gunshot freezes the world. In the next heartbeat, the anguished cries belong to Gu Ziyuan. "Ah!" He clutches his groin, howling in pain, his body curling up and rolling on the ground like a shrimp, blood staining his hands, tears streaming down his face for his beloved. I recoil, covering my mouth, shaking my head in disbelief, fearing I might burst into laughter at any moment. Once my emotions settle, I offer Gu Ziyuan a mournful smile. "Gu Ziyuan, who would have thought you would sacrifice even your manhood for Shin Tangdang? If that is the case, I shall facilitate your union." I change the original plot point from plunging into the sea to jumping into the sea. Without hesitation, I dash towards the cliff's edge, shoving aside bodyguards and assailants alike, and, amidst the astonished gazes, I resolutely leap off the precipice. Then, as if time stands still, I execute a perfect 207 sea dive, tucking my knees to my chest and creating a splash as I hit the water. Just as I admire the flawless dive, Gu Ziyuan's anguished cry reaches my ears from the shore.
No.
Whether his grief is for the lost second brother or the demise of his blissful life, it is no longer my concern. I hum the BGM of snowflakes dancing in the north wind, propelling myself through the water in a dog paddle. After swimming 2 kilometers, I finally reach the shore, trembling as I extend my middle finger towards Gu Ziyuan. You big fool. Exhausted, I roll my eyes and faint. Upon awakening, I find myself lying on a lavish bed in a grand villa. The butler beside me, noting my awakening, remarks with an enigmatic tone, "Young master has never cared for anyone as much as this." Oh dear, am I now entering the realm of the young master's theatrics? 3. No sooner had the butler finished speaking than the young master in question, Si Huainan, appears. His gaze sweeps over me, assessing me as one might appraise a mere plaything. Indeed, he regards me as nothing more than an object of amusement. In the original narrative, Si Huainan is Gu Ziyuan's arch-rival, employing the original character's amnesia to gain her trust and affection, manipulating her emotions to satisfy his desire for conquest and validation. Ultimately, at the moment she falls for him, he relinquishes her as if she were a mere object. The thought of this sends my blood pressure soaring. Thus, when Si Huainan leans closer to me, I erupt.
Ah.
My head hurts. Why am I here? Why can't I remember anything? My performance rivals that of a melodramatic actress, my gestures swift and exaggerated. I seize Si Huainan's hair, delivering a resounding slap. With a sharp smack, I leave him momentarily dazed. Seizing the opportunity, I unleash a flurry of slaps, my hands a blur. Smack, smack, smack. My strikes create a visible distortion on his features. Ultimately, it is the butler who rescues Si Huainan from my grasp. Gazing at his visage, now resembling that of a pig, I clutch his hair and weep. Woe is me! Why can't I remember who I am? The sound of my wailing echoes throughout the room. Seizing the moment, I pull up the original text. The new narrative states, Si Huainan steps forward, gripping Lin Wei's neck, observing her struggle in agony, a smirk playing on his lips. Woman, this is the price of your insolence. And in the next moment, he bites down hard. I replace neck with sock. Just as I make the change, Si Huainan lunges at me. Having never been struck before, he is now ablaze with fury. Gritting his teeth, he glares at me. Woman, how dare you hit me? And thus, before the butler's astonished gaze, Si Huainan forcefully yanks back the covers and removes my sock. My sock. In that instant, my expression reflects utter despair. That sock accompanied me on my arduous 2-kilometer swim, having been soaked in seawater for hours and dried into a salty relic. Si Huainan revels in my breakdown, his smugness only growing. After he twisted and contorted my socks into various shapes, he flashed me a wicked smile. Woman, this is the price you pay for meddling. He then balled the socks up and took a bite. Witnessing the spectacle, the butler exclaimed, "Young master,
Stop that."
A fierce battle ensued between the butler and Si Huainan, both vying for the socks. As I endured the tumult in my stomach, I covertly peered through my fingers that were barely covering my face. Ultimately, the butler managed to tumble successfully and seize the socks to conclude the skirmish. Though Si Huainan had suffered a significant defeat at my hands, his character was evidently not one to easily concede. That day, having reined in his emotions, Si Huainan invited me to go horseback riding, under the pretense of helping me unwind. However, being well-versed in the narrative, I recognized that Si Huainan intended to showcase his charm through this endeavor. He even orchestrated a staged accidental incident where he heroically saved me from a runaway horse, aiming to win the heart of the original protagonist. A hero, is he? I shall make him a fool. At the riding arena, Si Huainan approached me clad in a striking red riding outfit. After appraising me with a confident gaze, he declared, "Woman, let me show you how I warm up." I looked at him with anticipation. Noticing my gaze, he became even more self-satisfied, adjusting his attire before striding toward his horse. The moment Si Huainan turned his back, I flipped open the original text. Si Huainan leaped gracefully, riding away at speed. I altered riding to mounting. Si Huainan leaped and landed on all fours beneath the horse. With his legs taut and rear elevated, he thrust his hands upward, the strain evident on his face. Thus, he forcefully mounted the horse, its legs fading into a blur as it sped away from my sight. The velocity was astonishing. Yet the most bewildered was the horse he was mounted upon. Having spent its life bearing riders, it could never have fathomed it would one day be ridden itself. Could this be what they mean by a good man is ridden by a horse? Half an hour later, the horse returned with Si Huainan, who was drenched in sweat, clearly lacking the spirit for any so-called heroic rescue. He glared at me furiously, transferring his wrath onto me. Si Huainan, beside himself with rage, seized Lin Wei's shoulder. Woman, are you mocking me? I replaced seized with encircled. Si Huainan stormed toward me, but halted half a meter away. Then, circling me as if I were his center, he began to march in rapid laps. 1 lap, 2 laps, 3 laps. With each circuit, he repeatedly asked, Woman, are you mocking me? Wherever I moved, he followed suit. Finally, after completing 81 laps, a loud bang echoed as his forehead collided with the wall. As he kicked his legs and foamed at the mouth, he still questioned me. Woman, are you mocking me? After Si Huainan's discharge from the hospital, I attended a pool party, as per the storyline. In the original narrative, Si Huainan allowed his rowdy friends to tease and provoke the original protagonist. It was only when Lu Bo, one of his friends, pushed the original protagonist into the pool, nearly drowning her, that Si Huainan appeared as the savior, offering a bland warning, don't let it happen again. At that moment, I observed Lu Bo, who was teasing me, and pulled out the original text. Hey girl, how about I show you something fun? Lu Bo leaned in with a mischievous grin. I modified lean to fanned. Lu Bo, leering at me with a lascivious gaze, beckoned with his finger, displaying an expression brimming with malice. Hey girl, how about I show you something fun? This proclamation elicited wicked chuckles from his companions. Yet, in the next instant, their amusement was extinguished. After uttering this line, Lu Bo suddenly raised his hand and began to slap his own face vehemently. Smack, smack, smack. The sound was crisp and rhythmic. Lu Bo's eyes reflected confusion and shock as his hands seemed to operate with a motor, slapping faster and faster. Soon, his face swelled into that of a pig. Others attempted to intervene, but they underestimated Lu Bo's strength. Smack, 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 smack. Each person who approached bore a fresh red handprint on their face. Si Huainan could no longer feign ignorance. In this new narrative, Lu Bo, have you lost your mind? After this remark, Lu Bo was kicked into the pool by Si Huainan, finally calming down. I replaced was kicked. Si Huainan, with a swift motion, stood up and walked toward Lu Bo. Lu Bo, have you lost your mind? He exclaimed, raising his foot to kick Lu Bo unexpectedly. Lu Bo executed a dramatic spin, slapping himself while simultaneously kicking Si Huainan into the pool. The onlookers were left in stunned silence, watching as Si Huainan plunged headfirst into the pool. Seizing the moment when no one had reacted, I shouted, Don't worry, I'm coming to save you. With that, I leaped into the pool, completing the maneuver in under 2 seconds, fearing that Si Huainan might swim to safety. My dog paddle swimming style kicked into high gear. Just as Si Huainan was about to resurface, I grabbed his ankle and pulled with all my might. Lo and behold, I dragged him back down to the bottom of the pool. Lin Gu Dong Dong Wei. I pressed on, one hand clutching Si Huainan's foot while the other splashed vigorously. Each time Si Huainan struggled to surface, he was pulled back under before he could take a single breath. When I finally rescued him, he was filled with water, on the brink of unconsciousness. I leaped up, landing on his abdomen, and wept uncontrollably. Woe is me, Huainan, do not perish. While crying, I pressed down with all my strength. Ultimately, after my frantic efforts, Si Huainan succumbed to unconsciousness once more, frothing at the mouth. The 2 hospital visits did not deter Si Huainan. Instead, they ignited his desire for conquest. In the original narrative, he deliberately drugged the original protagonist, coercively consummating their relationship, later placing all blame on her. Upon seeing the butler present the drug-laced mushroom soup, I wasted no time in retrieving the original text. Si Huainan stirred the soup with a spoon, a smirk playing on his lips. This is a special soup I had made. It tastes exquisite. I altered spoon to face. Just as Si Huainan lifted the spoon to stir the soup, he suddenly froze in place. With a clatter, the spoon fell to the ground, and in the butler's astonished gaze, Si Huainan embraced the bowl, thrusting his face into the soup. He swirled left thrice, right thrice, twisting his neck and wiggling his rear. As he mixed the soup with his face, he earnestly recited his lines. This is my special soup. It tastes exquisite. The butler, in a frenzy, slapped his thighs. Young master, even if it tastes good, you cannot drink from the bowl. 3 minutes later, Si Huainan, panting heavily, sat in a chair. His visage a blend of seafood and soup, his complexion mirroring the liquid. Yet before I could mock him, the effects of the drug took hold. Si Huainan tugged at his tie, his eyes fixed on me with an intense gaze, glowing with fervor.
Crash. Bang.
Si Huainan transformed into a demolition expert, toppling the dining table. Woman, you are mine. With that, he charged toward me. I took off running. As I sprinted ahead, Si Huainan pursued closely behind, and together we maneuvered like serpents, employing the butler as our pivotal element in a reenactment of Jing Ke's assassination attempt on King Qin. After successfully diverting Si Huainan for a full 180 seconds, he suddenly lunged forward, positioning himself directly in my path. Just as it seemed he would seize me, an idea struck me, and I shouted, Wang Fujian. Wang Fujian. Embracing the philosophy of sacrificing a friend to save oneself, I forcefully thrust the butler into Si Huainan's embrace. Watching the butler being enthusiastically embraced by Si Huainan, I repeatedly chanted Amitabha, while my mind rhythmically struck a wooden fish. As I pondered whether to incapacitate Si Huainan with a vase or a durian, he unexpectedly convulsed and collapsed, frothing at the mouth. 10 minutes later, Si Huainan was hospitalized due to mushroom poisoning. In the hospital, gazing at Si Huainan lying on the hospital bed, a melody involuntarily played in my mind. Red umbrella, white handle. After eating, we lie side by side. The butler beside me wiped away non-existent tears with a sense of relief. It has been a long time since I have seen the young master sleep so soundly. My pupils dilated in shock as I pointed at Si Huainan, who was connected to a heart monitor and an oxygen tube, incredulously asking, "Are you certain he is not in a deep coma?" Just as the butler and I debated whether Si Huainan was merely asleep or truly comatose, he stirred awake. The butler immediately rushed to him, tears streaming down his face. "Young master, you have finally awakened." Such rapid theatrics were impossible to contest. I too drew closer. Si Huainan's bewildered gaze cleared instantly upon seeing me. He screamed, "Don't come near." His look was one of sheer terror, as though I were a harbinger of misfortune. Even as I took a tentative step forward, he began to wave a finger at me, yelling, "Back!
Back. Back."
I sighed, never imagining that even a majestic eagle like myself could be so despised. Si Huainan's determination to avoid me was unwavering. He fast-forwarded the plot by 80 chapters, packing me off to my arch-nemesis's company overnight. Thus, I encountered Gu Ziyuan in the company cafeteria. At that moment, I was making quite a show of my meal: steamed eggs, roasted chicken wings, kung pao chicken, spicy chicken. Did this company harbor a vendetta against chickens? Just as I pondered this, a shadow loomed over me. I looked up, and lo and behold, it was Gu Ziyuan. He gazed at me with an expression of disbelief, his eyes wild and restrained. Yet, mere moments later, something seemed to shift in his thoughts, and his demeanor darkened. I was well acquainted with Gu Ziyuan's psychological fluctuations. In the original narrative, his initial shock and joy upon reuniting with the protagonist quickly morphed into fury as he concluded that she had faked her death to deceive him. Consequently, he humiliated her in the bustling cafeteria. I recalled the original text. Lin Wei. Gu Ziyuan's voice, low and gritted, echoed throughout the cafeteria, instantly capturing numerous gazes. I amended voice to flatulence. Just as I completed the edit, Gu Ziyuan glared at me with bloodshot eyes, enunciating my name through gritted teeth. Lin Wei.
Buffed.
That loud, low, and convoluted flatulent sound silenced the entire cafeteria. Everyone discreetly scrutinized Gu Ziyuan's posterior. I, feigning difficulty, shouted, "Mr. Gu, I truly do not possess any antidiarrheal medicine." Gu Ziyuan's complexion turned a ghastly shade, his glare intensifying. "Lin Wei, what did you say?" With each word he uttered, a pt punctuated the air like a background score. By the time he uttered the last word, he released a resounding, low, and exceedingly foul-smelling flatulence. Gu Ziyuan's eyes reddened with rage, while the onlookers were left reeling from the stench. At that moment, unless he were to disrobe and clear his name, he would undoubtedly bear the brunt of the blame. Gu Ziyuan's expression darkened menacingly as he intended to drag me out of the cafeteria for retribution. Gu Ziyuan stood before Lin Wei, grasping her hand firmly. I stood to knelt. In an instant, Gu Ziyuan closed the distance, abruptly seizing my hand, and then, with a resounding thud, he knelt before me. I jumped back, hastily retrieving a flyer I had received that morning and thrusting it into Gu Ziyuan's hand. "Mr. Gu, perhaps you should take a look?" It boldly proclaimed, "Diarrhea, a sign of kidney deficiency." By noon, news of Gu Ziyuan's kidney deficiency had spread throughout the company through various channels. Upon learning of this, Gu Ziyuan smashed several tea sets in his office in a fit of rage. Enraged, he summoned me to his office. Just as he was about to unleash his fury, I interjected. You have something stuck in your teeth. The atmosphere froze instantly.
Soon.
Gu Ziyuan cleared the food from his teeth. Just as his expression darkened and he prepared to continue his tirade, I spoke again. Is your younger brother still alive? To be honest, I was quite curious. Which was stronger, the protagonist's halo or the narrative's golden finger? Gu Ziyuan's face contorted as he glared at me.
What?
Do you wish for him to be gone? I nodded. With a swift motion, Gu Ziyuan swept all the documents off his desk onto the floor.
Get out.
I understood. He was likely in a dire situation. Gu Ziyuan was so incensed that he did not leave his office for the entire afternoon. Yet, knowing the plot well, I was aware that Gu Ziyuan would forcibly abduct me back home after work, subjecting me to a series of coercive and humiliating scenarios. What a lawless rogue. Though I was unsure how he would manage to enact his schemes without his tools, I retrieved the narrative-altering system. Upon hearing these rumors, Gu Ziyuan's expression darkened, nearly boiling over. I changed boiling over to erupting. Just as I completed the edit, I saw Gu Ziyuan hastily clutching his stomach and bolting towards the restroom. He raced as if fearing that any delay would turn rumors into reality. However, unbeknownst to Gu Ziyuan, the nearest restroom to the president's office had long since been emptied of toilet paper. Thus, 10 minutes passed. 20 minutes passed. An hour passed. Gu Ziyuan still had not returned. Seizing the opportunity, I made my escape. Yet, I evidently underestimated the power of the narrative. At the garage entrance, I encountered Gu Ziyuan, his face a mask of fury, his complexion pale from distress. Upon seeing me, he offered a sinister smile. Why aren't you running anymore? I retreated subtly, careful of the barrier. Gu Ziyuan continued to smirk coldly. Lin Wei, do you think sweet talk will? Before he could finish, he was struck by the descending garage barrier. The protagonist truly lived up to the title. Anyone else would have collapsed at such a blow, but Gu Ziyuan, clutching his head with one hand, dragged me along with the other. The chill on Gu Ziyuan's face was palpable. Do you think you can escape? I replaced chill with hail. In the next moment, small hailstones began to fall from the sky, targeting Gu Ziyuan's face. With a rhythm of thud, 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 the hail rained down relentlessly upon him. The smaller ones were the size of quail eggs, while the larger ones resembled duck eggs. Soon, Gu Ziyuan's face was bruised and battered, and he fell unconscious. Yet, even in a state of confusion, he did not forget his lines. Do you think you can escape? Ridiculous. Why wouldn't I escape when you're knocked out? Then, I was swiftly subdued and bound by Gu Ziyuan's bodyguards. When I awoke, I found a chain the size of a baby's arm shackled to my ankle. With a face swollen like a pig's head, Gu Ziyuan glared fiercely at me. Lin Wei, why aren't you running? I shook my head. You have mistaken me. I am not Lin Wei. Gu Ziyuan smirked coldly. If you're not Lin Wei, then who are you? I gazed at him seriously. I am a rare butterfly known as the Voss mud butterfly, thriving in the tropical rainforests of Siberia. Subsequently, I demonstrated my flying prowess, flapping my wings and delivering several hefty slaps to Gu Ziyuan. Smack, 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 smack. His face, marked with handprints, turned as dark as the bottom of a pot. Gritting his teeth, he spat. Lin Wei, it seems I must teach you a lesson today. With that, Gu Ziyuan recklessly lunged at me, intent on overpowering me. In a flurry, I opened the original text. Gu Ziyuan had finished peeling Lin Wei's clothes off, his gaze unabashedly scanning her from head to toe. Where's that arrogance you showed earlier? Keep going. I altered finished peeling to unable to finish peeling. At this moment, Gu Ziyuan began to struggle to remove my outer garments. Cotton jackets, overcoats, windbreakers, shirts, capes, vests, sweaters, suits, short sleeves. 5 minutes passed. 10 minutes passed. Half an hour passed. He could not finish. It was utterly impossible. Already drenched in sweat and aching all over, Gu Ziyuan refused to yield and began attempting to remove my trousers. Bell-bottoms, wide-leg pants, suit trousers, straight-leg trousers, cropped trousers, formal pants, skinny jeans, casual pants, pencil pants. When a sixth mountain of trousers piled up beside me, Gu Ziyuan finally broke down. He seized my shoulders and shook me violently. Are you some kind of onion? Peeling layer after layer. I silently supplemented his misline. Where's that arrogance you showed earlier? Keep going. Struck at his sore spot, Gu Ziyuan instantly exploded with rage. Standing up abruptly and swinging his arm to strike me, I swiftly dodged his attack and quickly retrieved the text modification system. Gu Ziyuan moved with remarkable speed, rushing forward to grab Lin Wei by the neck. Woman, do not provoke me. I changed remarkable speed to remarkably slow. Just as I finished the alteration, Gu Ziyuan seemed to be frozen in place, as if struck by a paralyzing technique. No, he wasn't entirely still. Over the course of half an hour, his movements slowed to a crawl, and he managed to shift his raised arm a mere 2 millimeters. I hummed the tune left hand, right hand, in slow motion, and with a swift kick, I sent Gu Ziyuan crashing to the ground. After rummaging through his belongings for the keys, I unlocked the chains and descended to eat. By the next morning at 9, I groggily heard Gu Ziyuan's voice. Woman, do not provoke me. When I awoke, Gu Ziyuan had already been hospitalized. Yet even in the hospital, he had no intention of letting me off the hook. Gu Ziyuan specifically requested my presence to care for him. Holding a half-finished bowl of chicken soup at the hospital door, I pondered how best to administer it to him. Upon opening the door, I saw Shin Tangdang, dressed in a white dress, intimately feeding Gu Ziyuan porridge. The scene of their affectionate exchange made them appear like a pair of perfect lovers. The moment Shin Tangdang turned to look at me, she stood up in a flurry, her eyes filled with a pleading expression. Sister, please don't misunderstand.
Oh.
Such a strong scent of white lotus. Unable to tolerate Shen Tongtong's distress, Gu Ziyuan glared at me and barked, Lin Wei, apologize. Shen Tangdang gently nudged Gu Ziyuan. Brother Ziyuan, please don't make things difficult for my sister. As she spoke, her eyes sparkled with unabashed pride. Hearing Shen Tongtong's words and recalling the reason for his hospitalization, Gu Ziyuan's expression darkened further. Lin Wei, kneel and apologize. Right now. Immediately. Ah, my little temper. If I don't make you cry today, I shall not bear the surname Lin. I flipped open the original text. Shen Tangding leaned against Gu Ziyuan's shoulder. Brother Ziyuan, I won't let you be sad. I changed leaned against to bitten onto. At that moment, Shen Tongtong's eyes glistened, and her demeanor exuded an utterly pitiable charm. She took a step closer, and, right before my eyes, wrapped her arms around Gu Ziyuan's, her gaze directed at me, filled with provocation. In the next instant, this idol drama-like scene morphed into a horror film. Shen Tongtong's cherry lips suddenly transformed into a gaping abyss, and with a chomp, she bit down hard on Gu Ziyuan's unguarded shoulder.
Ah.
Gu Ziyuan's scream echoed through the corridor. His twisted face was a portrait of shock as he screamed, yanking at Shen Tongtong's hair in a frenzied attempt to free himself. As a result, with a whoosh, he pulled off a chunk of her wig. In that moment, time seemed to freeze. I beheld a bare patch on the back of Shen Tongtong's head. Upon feeling the chill of the exposed skin, she bit down even harder. The bewildered Gu Ziyuan emitted another scream. He desperately clawed at Shen Tongtong's face. 10 minutes later, as Gu Ziyuan was rolling his eyes in agony, Shen Tangding finally released her hold. With blood at the corners of her mouth, she gently rubbed against Gu Ziyuan's shoulder like a delicate bird. Her voice was sweet. Brother Ziyuan, I won't let you be sad. With each nuzzle, Gu Ziyuan shivered. I pointed at Gu Ziyuan's bloodied shoulder. So you made him bleed? The air instantly thickened. Shen Tangding snapped back to reality, her face pale as she covered her face and shook her head. I'm sorry, Brother Ziyuan, it was not my intention. With that, she tearfully dashed out of the hospital room, taking her wig with her. Seeing Shen Tangding leave, I also felt the urge to flee. However, as I looked up, Gu Ziyuan was glaring at me with a murderous gaze. Lin Wei, are you satisfied? Gu Ziyuan reached out, ready to strike me in his fury.
I dodged just in time. Ha!
Missed. After 5 or 6 fruitless attempts, he, consumed by rage, immediately sought to summon a group of bodyguards to deal with me. Wanna hit me? Not on my watch. I pulled out the original text. The bodyguards heard the commotion and rushed towards the hospital room. I changed hospital room to outside the hospital room. Subsequently, at Gu Ziyuan's command, the bodyguards stationed at the hospital door swiftly charged outside. The synchronized footsteps growing fainter made Gu Ziyuan's expression increasingly grim. I chuckled to myself and approached Gu Ziyuan. He shouted, Lin Wei, what do you want? Get away from me. With a leap, before Gu Ziyuan could react, I delivered a sharp slap to his face.
Who are you talking to?
After landing a flurry of blows, I promptly chose to escape, fearing that Gu Ziyuan's bodyguard entourage would corner me. Yet, one cannot escape one's destined path. 2 weeks later, I found myself reluctantly attending a banquet. In the original plot, Si Huainan drugged the protagonist and intentionally allowed Gu Ziyuan to catch her in the act, leaving her utterly humiliated, only to later shift all blame onto her. Not only did Gu Ziyuan fail to comfort her, but he also believed she had debased herself by cheating on him. After publicly breaking her legs, he subjected her to 40 chapters of torment and abuse, all while claiming, "The injury is upon you, the pain is in my heart." What a nightmarish plot. I hid in a corner, sharpening my metaphorical sword. When I glanced up to see Gu Ziyuan coldly striding towards me, I immediately opened the original text. Gu Ziyuan stepped forward, grasping Lin Wei's wrist with an air of dominance. "Lin Wei, have you realized your mistake?" With a flourish, I changed dominance to feminine charm. In the next moment, Gu Ziyuan approached me with feline grace, his movements alluring and sensuous, swaying his hips with each step. He approached me, seizing my wrist with an assertive grip, displaying an undeniable aura of dominance. Of course, this was only true if one overlooked Gu Ziyuan's flamboyant orchid fingers and his posterior, which seemed capable of supporting a bottle of soda. Gu Ziyuan questioned me in a clipped tone. "Lin Wei, have you recognized your mistake?" I unleashed my dramatic prowess, my face etched with sorrow. "I'm sorry, but can your second brother truly be healed?" Gu Ziyuan's expression darkened instantaneously, his gaze upon me so fierce it felt as if he wished to devour me whole. I pressed on, leaving no opportunity for Gu Ziyuan to explain. "Though you suffer from impotence, renal weakness, and a tendency to be effeminate, I assure you, I harbor no disdain for you. I acknowledge my fault. Thus I wish you an abundance of descendants and blessings." With that, I clasped my mouth and fled, fearing I might burst into laughter. Like boiling water splashing into hot oil, the onlookers erupted, casting scrutinizing glances at Gu Ziyuan. Enraged, Gu Ziyuan attempted to reprimand me, but with his flamboyant fingers and swaying hips, he could not keep pace with my wild escape like a rabid dog. I laughed as I ran. With a resounding thud, I collided with Si Huainan's chest. Unlike our previous encounter, Si Huainan's gaze was now intensely fervent. "Lin Wei, you truly have left me astonished." I took 2 steps back, wishing to distance myself from this lunatic. Yet, Si Huainan stepped forward, grasping my wrist with a smile. "Lin Wei, come with me." I looked at him. "I'm sorry, but I have a phobia of large objects and fear of foolishness." Si Huainan's smile vanished, replaced by a menacing glare. "Lin Wei, do you believe I am asking for your consent?" Just as Si Huainan finished speaking, Gu Ziyuan, who had been pursuing me, arrived behind him. I quickly lowered my head, but Gu Ziyuan has already learned his lesson. Surely you need not continue this pursuit to the bitter end. Si Huainan frowned at me, his expression conveying a clear, "What nonsense are you spouting?" In the next moment, Gu Ziyuan's furious roar echoed from behind him. "So it's you,
Si Wainan.
I shall kill you." Gu Ziyuan leaped forward, delivering a kick to Si Huainan. Si Huainan was sent flying by Gu Ziyuan's kick, landing in a position reminiscent of a dog eating excrement. Seizing the moment, Gu Ziyuan charged forward, delivering a brutal strike to Si Huainan. With his hands clasped into fists, he hammered downwards onto Si Huainan's forehead with the force of someone breaking walnuts. After taking 2 heavy blows, Si Huainan became enraged, disregarding everything as he retaliated with punches aimed at Gu Ziyuan. The 2 suited thugs exchanged blows in a lively scuffle. I shouted softly, "Stop fighting, please don't continue." Meanwhile, I discreetly accessed the editing system. Si Huainan lunged for Gu Ziyuan's coat. I changed coat to hemorrhoid. Suddenly, Si Huainan's face contorted as he turned, heading straight for Gu Ziyuan's hemorrhoid. "Aha!" Gu Ziyuan emitted a profoundly tragic wail, surpassing even the last time his second brother was shot. He fell to the ground, his expression one of agony, his suit pants stained with blood. Gu Ziyuan, grimacing, seized Si Huainan's leg. I altered leg to bird. Upon seeing Gu Ziyuan covered in blood, Si Huainan immediately bent down to inspect. The moment he lowered his head, Gu Ziyuan swiftly executed a move akin to a monkey stealing a peach, gripping Si Huainan's bird with tremendous force. Aha! The number of lamenting voices doubled. 5 minutes later, both men lay unconscious. When the ambulance arrived, the guests witnessed Gu Ziyuan and Si Huainan entwined in a tight embrace, even in unconsciousness, not letting go. One hand rested on the other's posterior, while the other gripped the other's bird. As the 2 were taken away by the ambulance, I received a notification from the system. "Congratulations, host, for the double kill. The editing system has been upgraded, now allowing for the modification of up to 4 words." Gu Ziyuan and Si Huainan became overnight sensations after their altercation at the banquet, dominating several trending topics. "Stunningly rich tycoon is a sister. Guarding your rear end is my duty. Tightly grasping your bird locks your heart." I gazed at these trending topics, erupting into a shrill, chicken-like laughter. Then, I found myself facing a series of unfortunate events culminating in abduction and confinement in a dark room. Due to my chaotic alterations to the plot, events that were supposed to unfold far later occurred prematurely. In the original narrative, the protagonist was captured on the run from the male leads and subjected to their torment in a small dark room. Ultimately, after multiple miscarriages, the protagonist succumbed to despair and chose to end her life on a bright, sunny afternoon. Only after her demise did the two male leads come to regret their actions. In the end, they basked in infinite wealth, forever ensnared in profound loneliness. I scoff. I shall ensure these two legal offenders are confined to endless cells, eternally subjected to relentless beatings. I widen my eyes, attempting to break through the darkness with a thunderous force. Suddenly, Gu Ziyuan's ghostly voice emerged from my left front. Lin Wei, are you frightened now? My hand moved faster than my mind, and with a resounding slap, I struck Gu Ziyuan's face. What kind of fool do you think you are, turning off the lights at this hour? Just as I contemplated kicking blindly, the lights flicked on. Gu Ziyuan stood before me, his face marked by a vivid red palm print, gazing at me with sinister intent. Lin Wei, I hope you can be this audacious later as well. With that, Gu Ziyuan withdrew his belt with a menacing expression and advanced towards me. I quickly opened the original text and changed whipping the belt to yanking hair. Gu Ziyuan glared at me menacingly. Lin Wei, since you disdain my love, let us see how you fare against my hatred. With that, Gu Ziyuan tossed the belt aside and seized my hair, yanking it with force. Aha! Even as he trembled from pain, he gritted his teeth and asked me, Lin Wei, do you regret it? As Gu Ziyuan became increasingly adept at yanking my hair, patches of artificial baldness began to appear on his head. Finally, after he had yanked enough hair to leave his head in a state of disarray, Gu Ziyuan regained his composure. He touched his nearly bald scalp and let out a mournful cry.
Ah,
My hair, my hair. I involuntarily filtered Gu Ziyuan's voice through the character of the Empress in The Divine Chef, unable to suppress my laughter. In an instant, the furious Gu Ziyuan, who had been lamenting his hair, directed all his ire towards me. Lin Wei, this is all your fault. Gu Ziyuan charged at me. Gu Ziyuan seized Lin Wei's hair, declaring, I will make you pay in blood for your debts. I changed Lin Wei to Si Huainan. Just as I completed the edit, Gu Ziyuan, fueled by rage, barreled towards me. He then bypassed me entirely, lunging for Si Huainan, who had just entered through the door, a confident smile adorning his face. Lin Wei, you yet. Before he could finish his sentence, Gu Ziyuan had a firm grip on his hair. I will make you pay in blood for your debts. Gu Ziyuan's hair-pulling technique was remarkably skilled. In just a few moments, Si Huainan's hairstyle transformed into a Mediterranean style. Enraged by the hair-pulling, Si Huainan quickly engaged in a brawl with Gu Ziyuan. The two exchanged blows, targeting each other's vulnerabilities, one aggressively assaulting the other's posterior, while the other ruthlessly kicked at the other's bird. Ultimately, Si Huainan, despite being bloodied, managed to retaliate, leaving Gu Ziyuan unconscious. After achieving victory, Si Huainan, drenched in cold sweat, glared at me. Lin Wei, you are undoubtedly responsible for this. I covered my mouth, stepping back and shaking my head furiously while shouting my innocence. I'm not, I didn't. Don't say such things. Si Huainan stumbled to his feet, glaring at me with fury. Lin Wei, the humiliation I suffered today shall be repaid to you 100-fold. Si Huainan delivered a sharp slap across the face of the cactus. I shall replace a slap with 10 slaps and the face of the cactus with the cactus. Just as the modifications were completed, Si Huainan rushed towards the cactus by the window in a frenzy. He then rolled up his sleeves and proceeded to deliver 10 slaps to the cactus. With each strike, I could hear Si Huainan's anguished cries.
ah, 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 ah.
After finally completing the 10 slaps, his hands were left bloodied and punctured with thorns. Perhaps my prominent front teeth had glinted and caught Si Huainan's attention. He immediately summoned 5 brawny bodyguards to teach me a lesson. Si Huainan succinctly commanded the bodyguards. Hit her. I will change all instances of hit her in this chapter to hit me. Si Huainan, suppressing his rage, directed at the bodyguards, hit me. The bodyguards momentarily froze, their eyes filled with confusion. Seeing their lack of action only fueled Si Huainan's fury. Did you not hear me? If you don't take action, you want to receive your bonuses this month. Upon hearing this, the bodyguards stiffened, their faces reflecting disbelief at such a peculiar demand. This was indeed your request, mind you. I am truly going to carry it out. Then, one of the bodyguards swung his arm and sent Si Huainan spinning 3 full circles. Si Huainan, bewildered, looked incredulously at the bodyguard, and then pointed at me.
I told you to hit me.
The bodyguards understood the implication, yet the force of their blows remained insufficient. As Si Huainan observed the approaching bodyguards, he bellowed, "Stand down." "I will replace stand down with take action." Si Huainan, witnessing the bodyguards gearing up, shouted at the top of his lungs, "Take action." The previously apprehensive bodyguards felt a surge of confidence upon hearing those words. Then, one of them delivered a right hook that knocked out two of Si Huainan's front teeth. Si Huainan roared, "I will dismiss all of you. I will dismiss all of you to raise your salaries." The bodyguards, invigorated by this declaration, escalated their attacks from slapping to kicking, sending Si Huainan tumbling like a rolling gourd. Just as Si Huainan was beaten to a pulp and fell into unconsciousness, the sound of police sirens blared outside the villa. Ultimately, Gu Ziyuan and Si Huainan were detained by the police on charges of kidnapping me. During their time in prison, I submitted evidence of their years of tax evasion to the authorities. By the time they were finally released on bail by their lawyer, their company was on the brink of bankruptcy. Both sought revenge against me. They attempted several assassination plots against me, all of which I thwarted using the modification system. To express my gratitude for their kindness, I sent Gu Ziyuan a bundle of ailments gift pack and Si Huainan a plague of misfortune gift pack. A year later, Gu Ziyuan succumbed to stomach cancer in the hospital. Si Huainan perished in a car accident on the road. With the demise of both male leads, my mission reached its conclusion. I joyfully received a task reward of 60 million from the modification system. Just as I was about to be returned to my original world by the system, I could not contain my excitement and exclaimed, "It feels so satisfying to torment